Good morning, friends. It's been a week. Hallelujah, Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Hallelujah. I hope that you find yourself well today. Whenever we connect this day of the solar eclipse, for many folks are excited. If that's important to you, I hope that it's a wonderful experience for you today. I'm hopping in here between a week with my family on spring break and heading to Valparaiso for the Institute of Liturgical Studies, but brought my kids in and checked in with the church community here before I head that way. So let's do a little devotion today, if you'd like. Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 3, 30 verses. So let's get going and let this carry you for the week. Should we continue with our devotions on our own there? King Nebuchadnezzar made a golden statue whose height was 60 cubits and whose width was 6 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then King Nebuchadnezzar sent for the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, and the counselors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces to assemble and come to the dedication of the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So the satraps, the prefects, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces assembled for the dedication of the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. When they were standing before the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had set up, the herald proclaimed aloud, "You are commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, an entire musical ensemble, you are to fall down and worship the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire." You know where this story is headed. Therefore, as soon as all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshipped the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Accordingly, at this time, certain Chaldeans came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble shall fall down and worship the golden statue. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon." Anyone know who they are? That's right, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. "These pay no heed to you, O king. They do not serve your gods, and they do not worship the golden statue that you have set up." Then King Nebuchadnezzar, in furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought in. So they brought those men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods, and you do not worship the golden statue that I have set up? Now if you are ready when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble, to fall down and worship the statue that I have made, well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. And who is the God that will deliver you out of my hands?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to present a defense to you in this matter. If our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire and out of your hand, O king, let him deliver us. If not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, and we will not worship the golden statue that you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was so filled with rage against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he ordered the furnace heated up 7 times more than what was customary. Anger issues much, huh? And ordered some of the strongest guards in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to throw them into the furnace of blazing fire. So the men were bound, still wearing their tunics, their trousers, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the furnace of blazing fire. Because the king's command was urgent, and the furnace was so overheated, the raging flames killed the men who lifted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But the 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the furnace of blazing fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up quickly. He said to his counselors, Was it not 3 men that we threw bound into the fire? They answered the king, True, O king. He replied, But I see 4 men unbound, walking in the middle of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the fourth has the appearance of a god. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the door of the furnace of blazing fire and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire. And the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of those men. The hair of their heads was not singed, their tunics were not harmed, and not even the smell of fire came from them. Nebuchadnezzar said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants, who trusted in him. They disobeyed the king's command and yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree, any people, nations, or language that utter blasphemy against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn limb from limb, and their houses laid in ruins, for there is no other God who is able to deliver in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. A long story, but after Nancy Morrison's inspiring reading of the whole Passion narrative from John on Good Friday, I couldn't shy away. This is a story of God's deliverance that is often proclaimed at the vigil. We didn't do it this year. We kind of pared down some of them. Had a beautiful vigil worship there. Not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before with our friends at St. Francis. Appreciated that very much. Truly Awesome is the title of our devotion from this new rendition of Christ in Our Home. If you have it there and want to read along together, it invites our focus to that first verse that we read there before, where it says, King Nebuchadnezzar made a golden statue whose height was 60 cubits. How big is a cubit? Commentaries vary, giving a range from about 1.5 to 4 feet. That makes Nebuchadnezzar's statue anywhere from 90 to 240 feet tall. On the upper end, it would be a little shorter than the Statue of Liberty in New York City. On the shorter end, it would still be in the height of a large lighthouse. I can only imagine how people reacted to such a statue. It would have been overwhelming. So much gold. So awe-inspiring. It was huge, especially in that age where before modern construction equipment. Why wouldn't one fall to their knees? So, here comes Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They are not impressed. The heroes of this tale don't bend the knee to the king's image. They believe in something and someone even bigger, the God of life, who dwells with them, even as they sit in exile. This God saves. Even the king finally acknowledges that their God, our God, is truly awesome. Pray together here, won't you? Holy One, amaze and inspire us again today with your awesome love. Amen. And as this day unfolds before you, continue in prayer. Lift up some prayer for construction workers. And God continue to hold you as you bear God's Easter love into this world. Probably won't see you again here for another week, but God holds you in grace and devotion on your own as we continue to share this journey together in life and faith. God be with you, friends.